Swashbucklers, you're listening to Under the Crossbones, episode number 98. My name is Phil Johnson. I'm your host for the show. Thank you once again for tuning in and telling your friends and all that kind of good stuff. Episode 98. Man, we're getting close to 100. Oh, by the way, happy 4th of July, Independence Day to my American listeners. If you're not in America listening right now, happy Tuesday. I don't know, Tuesday's not even that good a day. Happy Friday. We're going to just shove you right along to the end of the work week, and we'll say happy Friday, even though you may be listening to this on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. In my world, every day is Friday. Happy Independence Day. Go blow some things up. Unless you're in one of the countries where they blow things up regularly, in that case, do not blow things up. Let's make it, we'll make it opposite day. How about that? All right, episode number 98. Fun facts about the number 98. The highest jersey number allowed in the National Hockey League is 98, because it was 99 before, because they only use one or two digit numbers, but they retired the number 99 in honor of Wayne Gretzky. So now you can't get any higher than 98 on a hockey jersey. On the periodic table of elements, atomic number 98 belongs to californium, which, yes, comes from my home state here of California. It's a radioactive metal with a melting point of 1,652 degrees Fahrenheit, which is only slightly hotter than Las Vegas. Californium, it's a very strong neutron emitter, so they use it in portable metal detectors, and they use it to find gold and silver, and they use it to identify water and oil layers in oil wells. And then they use it to detect metal fatigue and stress in airplanes. And it didn't exist in weighable amounts until 1960. They discovered it in 1950, but it took 10 years for them to be able to make it in weighable amounts. And even now, it's only prepared in milligram amounts only by a neutron bombardment of plutonium-239. And it also enjoys long walks on the beach, the music of Dick Dale, and classic cars. That's californium, periodic table number 98. All right, here we are. I know, stupid, goofy, but I thought it was fun. Anyway, my guest on the show today is Daniel Siemens, and we are talking ship. Ship with a P. Yes, we're talking shipbuilding in bottles. This is not a subject I thought would ever come up on the show. I hadn't even thought about it, really, honestly. And then the idea was presented to me, and I thought, Mark Kehoe actually told me about this guy. Mark Kehoe, back from episode, because I can't remember and forgot to look it up. Go look on the episode guide on underthecrossbones.com and see where Mark Kehoe, pirate surgeon, is, because I don't remember what episode he was on. But Mark told me about Dan Siemens. And he said, hey, how about shipbuilding in a bottle? And I was like, I didn't even know that was a thing that still existed. So why not? Yeah, that's cool. We'll talk about building tiny ships in bottles. And this is actually, it's a really fun episode, really fun discussion. We dig into it, and we dig into Daniel and what he's doing and how he ended up doing this interesting hobby. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Stay tuned for that. It's just summer. Comedy is slow in summer, because people like to do outdoor things, and comedy is an indoor activity. We are indoor kids. But I got a couple shows coming up this Friday, July the 7th. I'll be headlining a Bluefin Billiards in Monterey, California, which, hey, if that's not a summer town, I don't know what is. Monterey's beautiful, and it's right on Cannery Road there. So if you don't like my jokes, you can look out the window and see Monterey Bay, which is nice. Tuesday, July 11th, I will be at the Vintage Lounge in Turlock, California, which there's no water there to look at, so you have to listen to my jokes. Thursday, July the 13th, I'll be at Tesora's in Campbell, California, which is a wine bar gig. Friday, July the 14th, I'll be at the Redwood Cafe in Cotati, California. That one's always fun. That's a great gig. If you're enjoying the show, and I hope you are, I really hope you are, come join us over on Facebook, facebook.com/underthecrossbones. On Twitter, we're at undercrossbones, no the. And, of course, you can get all the show notes for this show at underthecrossbones.com/098. If you want to be help us out with the show, that would be awesome. Be a supporter of the show. And here's the thing. This is the money part, right, where I say how you can give me money. If you can't give me any money, just go tell a friend about the show. That's very, very helpful, too. Word of mouth is the best gift that you can give. It's not a great Christmas or birthday gift. I mean, obviously, like if you just went, hey, this is my friend, and he's pretty cool, and happy birthday. That's not a great gift, unless it results in something. But anyway, if you want to help support the show, go to underthecrossbones.com/support. Right there, there's a PayPal box where you can drop a little donation in there of any amount that you please, and whatever it is, maybe the price of a bottle of rum or something like that. There's also an Amazon banner right there. If you click on that Amazon banner and you buy yourself something nice, maybe a book from one of my previous guests, or a pool to cool off in your backyard if you have no water nearby. Anything like that, Amazon kicks me back a few pennies, and that's a nice little help to the show. Thanks for everybody that's been doing that, seeing that happen. So that's nice. Go buy those books and other things. If you want to be a sponsor of the show, that is cheap and easy. Go hit underthecrossbones.com/support. Contact me from there, and I will get you set up to sponsor the show. So we are going to get into my interview with Daniel Siemens here, and I'm going to mess that up. I even asked him, Daniel Siemens. I asked him before the show how to pronounce it, and then I knew I was going to mess it up at least once. We're going to get into my interview with Daniel Siemens here in just a second, and it's going to be fun. Like I said, we're talking about ships and bottles. Now, if you're not sure what ships and bottles are, and you probably are, but it's when they build a little tiny ship, and then they jam it into a bottle, and there's a trick to it. And he's not a magician, so he actually will tell us the trick. He's going to show us how that's done. And then we're going to get into some of like the how he got into it and where this art form exists in this very modern age. This is a very non-modern thing to be doing, right? There's not a digital element to it. There is no ones and zeros in shipbuilding and bottles, which I think makes it pretty intriguing because it's an art form that doesn't... we don't think about it. It doesn't quite exist anymore, but it should. I think it's a pretty cool art form. So, are you ready? Let's do it. Let's get into my interview with Daniel Siemens of Tradewind Bottling. Check it out. All right, so today we are talking about building ships in bottles. And that is not a topic I ever thought to discuss on this show. It is also not a topic I knew really existed. Like I remember seeing it in cartoons when I was a kid and things like that, where it was a thing. So right. How did you get into building ships in a bottle?
So, yeah, I was watching the fourth Pirates of the Caribbean, and they have all the ships and bottles in there, and Jack Sparrow looking at the Black Pearl, and it intrigued me, and so I thought, how do they put ships in bottles? So I just started digging around online and figuring it out, and ran into a whole group of people that build ships and bottles. There was, at the time, the Ship and Bottle Association of America. There's other associations worldwide, and they taught me how to do it. And so, yeah, that's kind of my jumping off point. I've been doing it for 4 years now, and it's just too much fun.
That's really interesting. Like I had no idea those organizations existed. Like I said, I didn't know it was a thing that people still did. It seemed like sort of an archaic art form, but it's a really interesting one at the same time. What is it that appeals to you about it? Is it just the tiny detail work, or are you one of those highly super focused type people?
I think it's the magic of it, like, because you look at the model and you do have to ask the question, how did they get it in there?
Yeah.
And so for me, it's that magic of getting it in there and having it have that look. And it's the magic trick that keeps showing itself off. It never ends.
Yeah, that makes sense. So tell us a little bit about the magic trick. Since you're not an actual magician, I will press you for details.
No, I'm totally happy to share because it is a dying art, and the more I can get people interested in doing it, the more people like me that are crazy enough to do it. So
sure, yeah, absolutely. So when you start into a project, you're building the ship outside of the bottle to start, and then there is a process in which it goes into the bottle. You're not actually building it inside the bottle, right?
Exactly. Yeah, you build the entire ship outside the bottle. If you're to do it inside, it'd be just ridiculous. So, and there's a lot of methods to get it inside the bottle. The most common one is putting hinges at the base of the mast, and so all the masts are going to fold down. And with the mast folded down, you could fit everything through the bottleneck. Then you pull on the four stays, the four rigging lines, and it will pull the mast back up until the back stays hold them back. So you pull them up till the back stays are tight. And then it's a matter of gluing off those four stays, cutting them off, and then your ship's in the bottle.
Interesting. And so, I mean, even doing that amount of work inside the bottle's got to be pretty tricky.
It can be, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what kind of tools are you using to do that with?
For the most part, my number one in-bottle tool is just a coat hanger with a slight bend at the end. It's as simple as that. Like, that is my number one tool because it's a lot of poking and prodding and shaking the bottle. And, but yeah, and then pulling on those lines, and that really pulls it up, and you just kind of poke and prod and pull it until everything is together.
That's hilarious. And you're the guy we can call when we lock ourselves out of the car.
Possibly. I don't know car locks nearly as well.
That's the way we just stood on the old.
I'll give it a try.
That's the way we stood on the old cars with a coat hanger. But that's okay. So that's right. Cool. So, have you ever made the mistake of? And this would be a total rookie mistake, but maybe in your younger days of doing it, did you ever make a mistake of building the ship too big that even folded over it wouldn't fit through the bottleneck?
Oh my goodness, I'm running into that mistake right now.
Oh, okay.
Like, it's hilarious because, it does sound like a rookie mistake, but I mean, every millimeter counts.
Sure.
And I have a ship I'm working on now, and it's driving me nuts because it's for somebody in the pirate community too. And he's well aware of this error. But yeah, I'm probably a millimeter or two off where it's just too tall. And so, too tall to get into the bottle. It'll be fine once I get it in, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, it's just 1 or 2 millimeters and it won't go in, and it drives you nuts.
That would drive me totally insane.
Yeah, and there's different tricks to work with that, like, because there are methods where you take the mast completely off and enter it separately, running just along the lines instead of folding it down. So I'm going to try and do that with the 4-mast and get it in. But so yeah, it does happen where things are too tall. I've had ships in the very early days where I get it in and you pull the mast up and the top of the mast hits the top of the bottle and you can't pull it up the entire way, and it drives me nuts. But it happens.
And that's when you go, well, this one's been in a bad storm, and there was a battle, and the masts are just not what they used to be, and you have to make up a story to go with it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. I've had a few of those where it's a shipwreck in a bottle. That's totally what I was going for. It was like, no. Yeah, that's not what it is.
So how many pieces have you done so far over your 4 years?
Oh my goodness. I've lost count, but somewhere over 100.
Oh my gosh. Wow. That's crazy. Because I mean, they're extremely detailed because I've seen some of the pictures of what you're doing, and they're really, really, really detailed. How long does it take you to do just a single piece?
And it depends. Because I do both really, really tiny ones that are an inch to an inch and a half long as far as the bottle goes. And some that are in regular bottle size. The regular bottle size, I could put easily 40, 60 hours or more into them, getting the detail into them. The little tiny ones, I build quite a bit faster. Those take 5 or 6 hours, at top, sometimes as little as 1 or 2, because there's less detail. The smaller you go, the less detail you can really work into it, and the less it's even noticeable. So yeah, it just depends on size, but yeah, anywhere from a few hours to 50, 60 hours.
So when you, did you start with the tiny ones, or did you start with, wine bottle size?
Oh, I started with the wine bottle size. Yeah. The bigger type stuff, just because that's normally what you see.
Sure.
And then as I got into the community and I saw some people, they were doing, John Fox III, actually, if you Google him and look for his ships and bottles, he started doing ships and pocket watches.
Oh my gosh.
And so that's what got me interested in doing the really tiny work, because I see these, and they're incredibly detailed. He is probably one of the best ship and bottle artists that are out there today. Him and Heather Rogers is another one.
And what was his name again?
John Fox III.
Interesting. There is
right.
There is a comedian who passed away a few years ago whose name was John Fox, and he was a notorious among comedians, which is saying something. And for the shenanigans he would get into, there's also a comedy booker named John Fox. And so that's funny that his name is John. It's probably neither of those John Foxes. I can almost guarantee
it's really funny because I was looking up, I was trying to find his website again one day, and I looked up John Fox III, and there was an obituary. And I was like, oh no, but it's a totally different guy.
Totally different guy.
Oh gosh.
Must be that common a name.
Must be common.
That's fine. I know it's not John Fox, the comedy booker, because he is not detail oriented by any means.
All right. Yeah, this guy. Oh, he's incredible. His work is just amazing. But he's super friendly, and he's on a few of the forums that I've been through, and just helping me with all sorts of stuff. Just an excellent person.
That's really great. I imagine it's got to be a fairly supportive community just because it's not very big. Or I imagine it's not very big. I may be wrong.
No, yeah, it's not big at all anymore. There's probably 4 or 5 of us. It's really gone down. I mean, most of the guys that do it are pretty old, and a lot of them have stopped because, and that's what's funny, everyone says, oh, it's an old man's hobby. And it's like, well, you get older, your hands get shaky, your eyes get bad, and you can't do it as much. So it's not a really old man's hobby, I guess. But it does seem like there's quite a few older gentlemen that are into it.
Interesting. Yeah, that shipbuilding in a bottle, that's a young man's game.
Yeah, really it is, because, I'm only 31, and so, my hands are good, my eyesight, I'm nearsighted, so that kind of helps because I throw my glasses off and I can see everything. But yeah, like I don't have the problems that come with age.
Interesting. So, the other thing I was going to ask is, what kind of materials do you start with? You're probably not starting with, here's a little plastic boat and I'm going to decorate that, right? What kind of materials do you use?
Basswood is actually one of my number one things. I carve the whole out of basswood normally. Sometimes I've used cherry. I like cherry a lot as well.
Okay.
Those are the two I've really experimented with. Other people say cedar is great. But yeah, wood is the main material. As far as once you branch out from there, like mass, I'll use bamboo because it stays nice and strong even though it's incredibly thin. And then like thread, I'll use fly tying thread. Yeah, all sorts of different materials. Cannons, actually, and this is the fun part about ship and bottle building too, is the different materials that you find just laying around.
Oh, okay.
So like the cannons I'll use, there's that little black cable inside cell phone charging cables.
Okay.
That's what I'll use for cannons.
Funny.
So, and then, you can get watch gears for helms, different things like that.
Oh, okay.
Just whatever you can find and it looks the part, then use it.
That's interesting. So it's almost like a found objects art.
Yeah.
So the cherry wood is a pretty hard wood, isn't it? I mean, basswood is fairly soft from what I know, and as is cedar, but cherry wood is fairly hard, isn't it?
Yeah, it is fairly hard. And in a way, because it is harder to carve by far, but at the same time, it seems to hold details a little bit better because it's harder. So that's why I've liked using it. I usually go back to basswood because it is easier, and when I'm building a commission type piece and I need to go faster, softer wood is better.
Oh, okay.
And I've figured out some things. There's there's a company, I want to say they're in Michigan, called Cards of Wood, and they build business cards and things out of wood, but they also have these 8x11 sheets of wood that are incredibly thin. Sheets of wood. And so I'll get those and I'll cut planking out of them and actually plank the sides of the ship is what I've started doing. And it looks fantastic.
Oh, that's neat. So, yeah, I mean, with the woods, I was thinking back through guitar woods because they use a lot of the same types of woods in building guitars. And that's what I have sitting all over my office here. But when you get started with something like that, is there like sort of the version of like a snap kit model version of that is easy to get into and then you can grow from there? Or did you just go like full bore in?
A little bit of both, actually, because there's kind of 3 methods. You can just go full bore in and try it out yourself. There are kits out there. Most of them aren't very good. The one to steer clear of for sure is the Amati kit. It's done by a company called Amati. It's called the Hannah. I think they do a few other ones, but they make the process way harder than it has to be, and they use these brass etching fittings that are horrible. And I've known quite a few people that have tried ship and bottle building starting with that kit, and they got done going, I'm never doing this again. It was too hard. And it frustrates me because I'm like, it doesn't have to be as hard as that kit makes it. Wood crafters, crafters spelt with a K, they do some really good kits. What I like is their bottles have a really wide opening. It's a good inch or so.
Okay.
So it really helps you learn how to maneuver inside the bottle without being overly frustrating because it is so wide. The problem people have with those ones is they're kiddish looking kits. They're, it looks like something you'd give to your 10-year-old to build.
Right.
But it is a good way to learn the process. There really isn't that many great kits out there that I've seen. So you want to get into scratch building things fairly quickly on. There's a lot of books that are really good. Don Hubbard, who was one of the founders of the Ship and Bottle Association of America did a book called Ships and Bottles by Don Hubbard, and it's fantastic. That's probably one of the best books out there that I highly recommend.
Okay, good.
And that'll teach you how to scratch build and that sort of thing.
Nice. What was the name of the book again?
Ships and Bottles.
Ships and Bottles. Oh, of course.
Yeah, go figure, right?
Yeah, duh. Nice. I want to make sure to link that up on the show notes so everybody can go check it out. So when you design your ships, are you working from a particular ship design, something that's out there in a book or something, or are you making up your own designs as you go?
For the most part, I've done it from books. There's another incredible book called The Story of Sail, and it has thousands of plans from all over every century. And they're all like 1/400 or 1/300. So they're these small, just right for ship and bottle size plans. And so, it depends on what I'm looking for. I'll kind of go, well, what do I want to build this time? Do I want to build a 1900 style yacht? Do I want to build an 18th century pirate ship? And then go through and find the plans that I want, and then use those plans and go from there.
Okay. All right. Interesting. And I know you've done commission work for some people too. What kind of ships are you building for them?
Oh yeah, I've done, and especially in the pirate community, I did for, I don't know if you've heard of the Mercury Crew.
Yeah.
Yeah, I built, what am I saying? Nate Pace did a drawing of their ship, the Mercury, that he would sell to the crew and stuff. And so I looked at those drawings and said, yeah, I can totally build this. And so I was commissioned by Mission to build a ship and bottle of that particular ship. And then he turned around and gave it to Nate. And, but yeah, so I built the Mercury ship in a bottle. On the Pirate Surgeon's website, there's a whole article on how I built that and getting into that. I'm also doing one for the Scavenger Crew for Jack Stifler, who's the captain of the Scavenger Crew. Uh-huh. And then, yeah, I have an Etsy shop that I throw them out on, tradewindbottling.etsy.com.
Okay.
And then, yeah, just other people within my family and stuff.
I was just thinking you need to get one to, what's his name? Larry Ellison at Oracle, who's he's the big, I can't think of the name of his ship, but he's a big regatta guy. And I can't think of the name of his ship, but he takes down the big prize at the big, sailing competition every year. This is how much I know about sailing competitions. I can't even remember the name of it. The America's Cup.
I'm trying to think the America's Cup. Yeah.
Yeah. He would probably love one.
He probably would.
So build that one. We'll send it to Larry. I live 15 minutes from Oracle. I'll take it over.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's funny because I work at the Oracle building in Denver.
Oh, funny. There you go. Well, then you probably have a closer in than I do. I would just drop it off at the secretary.
Yeah, right. Let's drop it off here. They can mail it out to California. I don't know. Save me the shipping.
There you go.
That would be a fun one to do because those are fascinating vessels.
Yeah, they're really neat. I've seen some of them in person. There was a stop on the America's Cup in San Francisco last year or the year before, and they had a big display and that kind of thing. But pretty interesting. So, if you were offered the chance to then do actual size shipbuilding, would you jump on that or no?
Oh, I totally would.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd be all over it. Yeah, it's so much fun. I mean, it's fun to do it in miniature, but to see it in full life, that would be absolutely incredible.
Nice. Yeah, well, that somebody out there probably has an opportunity for you to do free labor on their ship then. Yeah,
I'm sure there is. I know somebody's doing a Bermuda sloop somewhere on the East Coast. It's a bit of a drive for me, being in Colorado. But yeah, there's a few of them out there that I've seen that are wanting volunteers. So if I wasn't in Colorado, I probably would be into a project like that.
Sure. Not a lot of ships in Colorado.
No, not really. A few lake boats,
Right.
And my little 8-foot dinghy I take out, but that's about it.
Nice. So besides the Ship in a Bottle Association of America, which I'm sure they have a website, right?
They do. They actually closed a year or two ago. There was falling interest and people were just getting older, and so they've closed down since. The European Ship and Bottle Association, I'm trying to remember their actual name. I want to say it's something European. I'm trying to remember, but yeah, they are still going. They still have a magazine that they send out. I want to say it's quarterly. It could be monthly. Uh-huh. That was actually, thinking of commissions, I forgot about that one. They did they were trying to raise money for the British Olympic sailing team for Rio.
Oh, neat.
And so one of the projects that the Olympians actually approached the European Ship and Bottle Association to raise this money. And so what they wanted was ships and bottles with the sails that were signed by the athletes.
Oh.
So I was able to get these sails that were signed by Saskia Clark and Hannah Mills,
Neat.
Who raced the 470 and won gold. And so I built the ship and bottle for them and mailed it back, and they put it in an auction and raised the money that way.
Oh, that's super cool.
Interesting, the weird niches you get into, because it is such a small community that, you know, opportunities arise you otherwise wouldn't think of, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, because there's not that many go-to people for it, so you would be the go-to people.
Built a ship and bottle for a commercial for it was a Viking app, and it wasn't my best work. They wanted it in like a week, so the ship and bottle wasn't that great, but it's in the commercial. It was still a fun project to do.
That's pretty cool. So tell me a little bit about the settings inside the bottle then, because you don't just, the ship's not just sitting on the glass in the bottle. You actually do settings around it, yeah?
Yeah. Usually I do a C. It's clay C, like a plastiline type clay where it stays soft. It doesn't really harden.
Okay.
But it'll stay that way for years and years. I've had some now over 4 years and haven't had an issue with it. That's my main one that I do. Some of them I'll do stands, so it's the full ship in the bottle just sitting on a stand.
Uh-huh.
One of them I've done hanging, where the ship is hanging from the cork in the bottle and the bottle's upright.
Huh.
So it'll be just hanging in the bottle, which that one's been fairly popular.
That's pretty cool.
I need to do more like that.
Interesting. So when you're doing the clay C, how much of that are you doing outside of the bottle versus inside of the bottle? Because that almost seems like it'd be harder.
Right. Quite a bit. I don't know. It's kind of half and half, because I'll usually roll it out and get it to the size that I want outside the bottle. And then it's a matter of rolling it carefully, getting it through the bottleneck, and then unrolling it in the bottle. Okay. And then I'll usually put it over a stove for a few seconds to melt the bottom so that it doesn't come unstuck.
Uh-huh.
So it's just set in place.
And how about the paint? How about the painting of it? Because I've seen a picture of it. You paint it so it looks like water and all that kind of stuff. Do you paint it inside or outside?
Yeah, inside actually. As far as that goes, what I usually do is I get a white clay, so it's the same stuff as and it blends a little bit too, which is kind of fun. And so I'll get the white clay and I'll just kind of dab it into place.
Okay.
And get it into place that way. And then it's just a matter of getting the ship in place, and I'll use an epoxy to glue it down.
Neat. So where is, if somebody came to you and said, I really want to learn how to do this, where would you send them first?
I would say there's actually a forum that somehow I acquired called bottledshipbuilder.com.
Okay.
That's a great place to start. That's the main forum now. There used to be a Yahoo forum, but we've all kind of moved to this one. And so that's a great place to start, where you can ask questions and get answers from all of us that do ships and bottles. Another great place is just look up Ship and Bottle on Facebook. There's a great Facebook group.
Okay.
And it's very active. I'd say there's probably posts every other day. People building different things.
Nice. Very cool. Very cool. And where's the best place online to keep up with your stuff?
Let's see. Anything Tradewind Bottling. I have an Instagram. I have a Facebook page called Tradewind Bottling. And then my Etsy shop. It's a small Etsy shop I use to make a little extra hobby money.
Okay.
I don't think there's any real money in it. But yeah, any three of those I post fairly regularly when I'm not into big projects.
Fantastic. And so I'll make sure that all those are linked up in the show notes. And yeah, you do bring up an interesting point. There's probably not a ton of money in it to monetize ships and bottles, but there's a little bit there. So what does the rest of your life look like? What do you do?
Oh, I do accounting.
Okay.
So yeah, when I'm not doing ships and bottles or hanging out with the family, I'm at work doing the books.
Okay. So you are definitely a detail oriented guy is what I'm getting out of that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's funny. You grow up and you never think, I'm going to grow up and be an accountant, but here I am, and you get a little OCD doing it, I guess, but it's fun.
Yeah,
I don't know.
No, certainly noble work, and I'm always intrigued by people who are able to focus on details like that, because I'm not a super detail oriented person. I have to be like really. I need somebody next to me going, no, that's not good enough. Do it again.
Come on, Phil, get on this.
Totally, yeah. It's
right.
It's the drummer in my band. He serves that purpose. He's great about that. He goes, and I go, that was great. And he goes, no, it wasn't. Do it again. So I always need those people around me. And so I'm always intrigued by people who have that kind of focus to really stay dug into something like that. And then your choice of hobby then becomes totally obvious. I
guess it kind of adds to it.
Yeah, it does. Do you have any other interests that people might not expect you to have? Because I'm sure your accounting coworkers may not expect that you are a ship in a bottle guy.
Well, they do now, since I have some of them in the office with me.
Oh, there you
go. I don't know, as far as I do play guitar myself, I absolutely love it.
Sweet.
I'm not that great, but, and I don't know, occasionally I do skateboard. I was a skater growing up.
Nice.
So I'm getting a little old and my ankles are getting a little weak for it, but darn it. And it ticks me off because I love skateboarding.
Ramps or street?
A little bit of both. I did get fairly good at mild half pipes. Like
okay.
I've never been great at skateboarding, but a nice small half pipe. I used to have a lot of fun in it, but I don't know. Last time I tried, I rolled my ankle and couldn't walk for 3 weeks, and that wasn't very fun. So anymore, it's more longboarding down the street, I guess.
There you go. You go. Nice. Yeah, that's I still have my skateboard, and my girlfriend always goes, "Are you going to get rid of that thing?" I'm like, "No." that's my childhood.
Why would you get rid of it? Dude, I'll be 80 years old and I'll be like, "No, don't get rid of that skateboard.
That's right.
It's mine."
That's right. Super, Daniel. Well, this has been really fun, man. Like I said, it was not a subject I ever thought would come up on the show, so I was really excited to talk about it. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you want everybody to know about?
I don't know. I guess that's mostly everything. The only thing I guess we didn't cover is maybe a little bit of history, or cost-wise, it's incredibly cheap. If anyone does want to get into it, you can build them for probably $5 each.
Oh, that's good to know.
So yeah, if you're looking for a cheap hobby, it's definitely the perfect one. I really do not spend much money in this hobby at all.
Oh, that's interesting. That's because guitars are not a cheap hobby.
Right. They definitely aren't. I think that was part of the draw in it for me, but yeah.
Excellent. Very good. Well, I will make sure all that stuff is linked up on the show notes so we can get anybody who's interested in learning how to do this. They can go there and link to all the cool resources that you mentioned there, and also find some of your stuff. So thank you for taking the time, man. This was really fun. Yeah, thanks for having me on. All right, cool. Let's talk again soon. Alrighty. All right, bye-bye. And there it is, friends. That is my interview with Daniel Siemens of Tradewind Bottling. And you can find out more about his work at tradewindbottling.etsy.com. Yep, he's one of the dudes on Etsy. I know, we don't think of it as like a dude site, but there are dudes on there. In fact, I saw something on there. It was like Etsy dads was like a list. So yeah, there's guys on there making stuff. Go get some of it. Tradewindbottling.etsy.com. And then the other site that he talked about with the forum site is bottledshipbuilder.com. That's bottled, like with the ED on the end of it. And I'll link up all that stuff on the show notes at underthecrossbones.com/098, as well as some of the books that he talked about. Ships and Bottles by Don Hubbard, The Story of Sail. I'll make sure all that stuff is linked up. Woodcrafters kits, if you want to start with the simple stuff. That's the way I would start, with a snap kit. Because that's where you start with like model cars and stuff too, right? You get the easy snap kit and you put stickers on it, maybe you paint it or something, but it all comes pre-colored, and then you move up from there. So start with the easy stuff. So I will link up all that stuff on the show notes, again, underthecrossbones.com/098. Under the Crossbones today is sponsored by Pirate Radio of the Treasure Coast, WKKC-DB, playing the best music in pirate radio talk, and you can listen to Under the Crossbones on both those stations. Just go to pirateradioofthetreasurecoast.com or pirateradiotc.com, and don't forget to download their apps. That's the Pirate Radio Treasure Coast app for music and the Pirate Radio Talk for the talk station. Yeah, and it's fun, and it's good, and a lot of you are listening from there. So thank you, all you Pirate Radio listeners. Got a free ebook for you, too. That is Alexander Esquemlin's Pirates of Panama, or Buccaneers of America, first published in 1678. So this is an important book to pirate people. And if you've not read it, I've got a nice free PDF ebook-y kind of copy for you. Just go to underthecrossbones.com, click on the free ebook button, and you can grab that for yourself there. And if you are out and about, and all you've got with you is your phone or something like that, or your tablet. I don't know who's carrying a tablet around if you're out jogging, but if you got a phone or a tablet, no, not a tablet. You can't text from tablets. If you got a phone, we're just going to leave it at phone. If you got your phone with you, text the word pirate and your email address to 94253. That's it. Just text the word pirate and your email address to 94253. I'm doing this kind of early in the day because it's a holiday week and my girlfriend's off work. We're gonna go do stuff. That just means my brain's not quite awake yet, is all it is. So go get your ebook either on the website at underthecrossbones.com or text it on over and we will get you there. Episode number 100 is coming up pretty soon. I've got some cool stuff for you. I've recorded some really cool interviews in the last week or so, and we're going to have fun with it. All right? So that is the show for today, friends. Appreciate you listening in. Again, if you want to find out more about ships and bottles, go to tradewindbottling.etsy.com to see Daniel Siemens' work. And if you want to actually get into it yourself, go to bottledshipbuilding.com. And that's the forum where there are people there that will know what's going on. You can get all the show notes for this show at underthecrossbones.com/098. Underthecrossbones.com/098. Episode 100 is coming up in just a couple of weeks. We're going to have a blast with it. And if you want to find out what I'm doing as far as comedy and music and all that kind of stuff, you can go to philjohnsоncomedy.com. Download a whole bunch of my stuff for free or find me on your favorite streaming system. All right? I'll talk to you next week. Have a good one. Happy 4th.